Test. Test. Can you hear me? Great. Just want to say, if we can get a round of applause for the speakers earlier today, I think they've been doing an awesome job. I'm here to talk about the science and the art of stereoscopic 3D technology. So I know that sounds very dry and science-y. Where's the art? And I know a lot of speakers today have a lot of great visuals that they brought that really support their message. And the only thing that I could bring you today that would back up, as a visual, back up what I'm about to tell you, is myself. I'm here in 3D. I'm real. Just as real as you, and you, and you, and all of you. That's what makes 3D such an interesting place to be, because we're already there. Everything is in 3D, three-dimensional. It's the God-given gift we were given. And a lot of people think that your eyes see 3D. Got to put on glasses, your eyes see 3D, right? That's not the case. Your left eye sees a left image. Your right eye sees a right image. Two 2D images. Your brain fuses those together and makes a 3D image. And that's what makes it special. It's something that's almost impossible for us to this point to even remotely mimic. And that's what science and art has always been about. Having and creating and trying to understand the things that make our lives what they are. Understanding people, reaching out to people, communicating to people. That's what 3D is here to help with. Now, I know a lot of people think that 3D is some Hollywood gimmick, and that's really all it is. It's for films, for animated films, for live action films. And that really, to tell you the truth, is just the sexy side of it. But what it can do for us, it can help us to see face to face in 3D a cancer cell that has killed a loved one of ours. Help us to understand what it does, how it grows, what its motive is. We can see, we can communicate, we can understand how to search for fossil fuels in a better way. I mean, there's a lot of organizations that have been using 3D technology for a very long time. It's nothing new. And when I say that, please don't use JAWS 3D as a reference for what I'm getting at, because that is not the case. For instance, NASA has been using 3D technology for a very long time. Whether it's to train an astronaut to understand the place where he or she will be going, where they've never gone before. To understand that environment is the best to our ability here on Earth before they have to go off and then figure it out for real. It also allows us to be able to see people or see lands that we've never seen before. Mars rover example. The Mars rover landed in Mars. For the first time, taking a picture in 3D. It allowed all of the scientists to really understand what that landscape was made of. We didn't know. We saw an image. We didn't have any depth to it. We didn't know really what the surroundings was. We had no idea until that picture was taken. And you looked at it in 3D, which I don't know if any of you have, but if they're available for free to take a look at, you feel like you're there. You understand. It's not just a picture of a science fiction movie. It's a physical place that exists. It's a real place. And we had two eyes, two digital eyes, taking a picture for us that gave images to our eyes, our left and our right eye, allowed our brains to see the real Mars. And that's incredible. Without having to go there, we could see what it's really like. And I think the way technology is with 3D and how it's advancing, please understand, we're in the infantile stage of this technology. As long as it's been in development, it's been back shelved for a long time, it's back again. The relevance of it is super, super important, and films make it, like I said, make it sexy. And that's great. Sex appeal is great because it helps things like, unfortunately, there had to be some sex appeal to global warming for people to care. And with 3D, with now this new sexiness, it's making it available for all of us to see. Imagine communicating, which we all do. We're all humans. We all want to communicate. We all strive to communicate with one another. We all strive to understand everything around us. We're curious. We want to know. And 3D is just one of those tools. It's just a tool. But it's one of our senses that we've been given that allows us to do that in a way in which we've never done before, unless you're physically there. And I don't know too many people that can go inside of a cell and see what it's made of. And I don't know too many people that can go to another planet. It's life-changing. And unfortunately, we only see the Hollywood side of it right now. But the technology behind it is much, much different. There's also a very artistic side to it. If you look at when art changed and there was depth perception added to art, Renaissance, it changed everything. It wasn't a flat image anymore. They put defocus in images, they layered people, they put things on 3 different layered depths. You got this sense of, wow, this is a real place. This is a real battle that happened. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion some of those artists would probably be working in the 3D realm right now if since those tools would be available to them. And that's what's really encouraging. There's the next Picasso out there right now, waiting for them to discover themselves, let alone the industry to discover them. And what they'll be able to show us, and then an entire new dimension, taking it from a 2D to a 3D. That's hard to ignore. 3D isn't, like again, it's just not about movies. It's a physical, real thing that exists, and it's something that we live with every single day on the very positive side of things. Now, you can watch a movie or a documentary, let's say someone that's in a lot of pain. It's a heartfelt story. Maybe it's a crying child, and you feel moved by this child that's crying. But to see it in 3D makes you next to her, helps you to be there with her. You're involved now. You're connected to what's happening. Because that's a real person. And sometimes we forget about that when we're looking up on a big screen, that those are real people with real feelings. This is just a tool to communicate better. To communicate closer to how we really communicate, how we want to communicate with people. We want to sit in front of them and we want to talk to them. That's why when you have interviews, you want to meet the person in person. You don't want to do a phone interview. People fly all over the world just to meet a person for 20 minutes to see if I want this person to work next to me for the next year, or if I want this person to be a part of our association, or if I want this person to be my nanny, or whatever the case may be. So it's certainly not a replacement for going and talking to someone, but it is a step above a 2D phone call, a 2D video phone chat. This is something that, again, that's in the infantile stage, and it will continue to develop with the help of everyone's interest. And I believe it's something that will definitely progress from where it's at right now. This is stage 1. Put in the glasses. It's kind of an issue that people need to get over. And they will. I mean, the glasses will go away. There will be something called stereoscopic, where your eyes are tracked, just like when you're in a conversation with someone, your eyes track those eyes because the eyes are the windows to the soul. You understand someone when you look at them. So we'll be able to do that in the future. No glasses required to see 3D. And then that next step, holographic imaging, where you can stand next to someone that's a world away, and you can understand how they feel about something because you're looking at them face to face. Again, they're not some postcard. They're not some letter. I mean, not that those are bad things, but it's about putting yourself in someone else's shoes that's a world away and understanding the pain, the joy that they have in their lives. It's about us connecting with people. You have to be able to understand other people and put yourself in their shoes to be sympathetic, empathetic. And this is what drives my passion for this type of technology. And it's a long way around. Obviously, there's a lot of entertainment that I work in that's dealing with 3D technology. And it really is the shortest route for me to be involved in it because I'm no scientist. There's a lot of people out there that have more of the information about how the synapses in the brain works and how images are fused and how the eyes converge. But I'm looking at it from a passion and how we all connect as humans, as individuals, as groups of individuals, this whole 3D space that we're in right now. You guys are experiencing this with me. And unfortunately, those cameras that are recording this will never see the same thing. Ever. It's impossible. They'll never have this connection. because they're not here. They're just watching it on a 2D television. And that's unfortunate. I want to do a test. I want to show you what is the difference. The two eyes seeing different. It's a very simple test, and I'd like everybody to participate if they can. It's simply holding your finger up and closing left eye, and then offsetting it with the right eye. Your finger moves. Those are two different images. Again, it's all happening right here. All for the sake of us to see, to hunt, to gather, to also to understand, to communicate. That's why those eyes are so important to everybody. To be able to look into someone's eyes and without saying a word, communicate. Some of the best conversations that I've had with my wife and my kids, I've never said a word to. I've just looked across the table. She knows how I feel about her. Or when my kids break something, and I look at them, they know how I feel about them. So, and that goes both ways. When I break something, my wife looks at me. And I know I should be doing my extra chores. But it's all about that communication and that human element of connecting. It's so vital. It's so important. It's about being passionate about other people. It's about understanding people. There's been a lot of studies trying to understand the science behind the brain activity, and we're not there yet. We understand a lot. We think we know. There's a lot of scientists that just come out and say, we're not sure how that happens. But our first attempts over the last 30 years to mimic this gift are finally getting somewhere. And that's a very, very important thing for us to understand, is that we shouldn't just say, this is the way it was, so we should just be happy with that. And I'm not against anything 2D. I think there's great messages. It's all about stories. It's all about characters when you're telling a story. But you can story tell in another dimension now. And maybe it'll mean less words. Maybe it'll mean different words. And again, that storytelling is what's so important. It's so important for us to understand. Because everyone here comes from a different background. Even if they're similar, they're still different. Everyone got up differently this morning. Everyone's going to leave here differently. And everyone interacts with their friends in a very different manner. And that understanding about how we do that has a lot to do with understanding people and putting yourself in their shoes. So the 3D side of it, it's just not for video games, so people can go through some animated jungle and find their friend and shoot them. That's not the best use of it, obviously, that's being played. But and then in the films and the animation side, again, just stepping stones into understanding how we communicate visually. I touched on art a minute ago, and art is one of those unfounded areas that has just been untapped completely by the 3D realm. And it's something that will play a big, big, big role for all of us in a very positive way. To be able to take something that's a sculpture, and it's sitting there, and to be able to spin it in virtual space and look at it. And again, NASA, training astronauts in virtual space, in a 4D environment, if you will. 4D is kind of a, that doesn't exist, it's time travel. So, but people like to call things 4D if you're physically touching them. So to be able to put on gloves and to be able to touch buttons and walk your way through what you're going to be in, that's incredible. It's incredible. Not only is it incredible, but it's necessary because no one's been there, no one's been doing these things, and then you got one shot at it. Space is not very forgiving. So it is the ultimate way to be able to prepare yourself for something that's maybe that doesn't exist. It's pretty powerful. It's pretty powerful. And I would say that to be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, it's a scary thing to do. And that's what makes the medium that much more appealing, because it's scary. It kind of pushes you a little bit. You kind of go, I don't know if I want to. I don't want to get involved. It's kind of like hearing one of your relatives talk about something. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, you guys have your problems. But to be able to understand them, it might help you to understand that what they're going through is actually more difficult than it really is. Or it makes you empathetic towards their situation. So again, this is a full circle. This technology and art, it's about everybody here. About us communicating together so we understand. And it's not it's not just it's not something that we should just ignore. It's something that we should explore, because we are just in the very, very early stages of it. Another thing I'd like to be able to do is to show you the difference between 2D and 3D really quickly. So for those of you sitting with someone in front of you, I'd like you to focus on the back of that person's head. For those of you in the front row, put your hand up, roughly about maybe 10 inches in front of you. And if you could just do this really quickly. Now, close both of your eyes. Open your left eye. Look at that person, or look at that hand. Look beyond that object, either the head or the hand. You can look up here, then go back to the head, go back to the hand. Now slowly open your other eye. It's almost like putting on a pair of glasses. It opens up your whole realm of this other dimension that one eye, one part of your brain, but one eye opens you up to. You don't really realize how significant it is until you see it, until you put a patch on one eye and walk around for a day. You go, wow, this is, bless you, this is something very unique. It's beyond unique. It's so very unique. It's such a special gift that we all get. And to be able to have any one of you express yourself, whether it be a letter or an email, a picture, and to be able to do it with that extra dimension, it's a gift as well. So I implore you to look into it, to study how the brain works, because it's a magical place. And 3D is just one very small step, one very small stop, rather, on how special things can be and how special things are within the human brain. Now, I've recently been working on some projects, and I can honestly say that it's a great honor to be here at TEDx, to be here in Traverse City, the city that I was born in. So thank you again for this opportunity.